If you're behind on your retirement goal, does working one more year really make a meaningful difference? We're going to dive into that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so when you're pursuing this big retirement goal, the biggest, for most of us, the biggest financial decision you're going to make in your life, stepping away from that paycheck, and yes, the stress and getting up early and all of that sort of stuff. So we're all looking forward to it, right? That's why you sacrifice, work hard for it, but that's why you got to plan, because you only want to do this once. You've got to build that 5-factor retirement plan to ensure that you can retire with confidence. No one wants to retire into this big question mark and financial stress and will I run out of money when it's too late for me to return to the workforce? I mean, no one wants to return to the workforce anyway, as record amounts of people have had to do over these past couple of years. You want to retire with confidence and certainly make sure that retirement's enjoyable and financially you're able to do so. So you've got to look at 5 different factors. What age do you want to be done, or are you looking to be done? The other side of age is what's your life expectancy. So really, how long is retirement going to last? Okay. Second is, how much are you going to spend? What's your lifestyle? What are you going to do for health insurance? What will that cost? What about taxes? What tax situation will you be in? What sort of one-time expenses will you have that will happen periodically? Vacations and vehicles, those sorts of things. All of that gets added into expenses, into lifestyle spending, okay? Third variable is, what are your income sources? So how are you going to optimize Social Security? Do you have a pension? You're going to work part-time. Most people don't, but more and more people are saying, well, if I can leave this high-stress job and do something part-time, well, it's not always available. You're not always willing to make that sacrifice. So that's income. Third, income in retirement. Fourth, how much do you have saved up in investments, and how much are you going to be saving between now and when you actually officially retire? And then fifth, how much risk are you taking with those investments? Therefore, what sort of return and volatility expectation could we apply to those hard-earned investments that you've saved up over your entire retirement, from now until retirement, and then from retirement until you pass away? So what's the volatility and how much risk and reward will there be? So those are the 5 factors. Now, they're all interrelated, meaning if you say, I don't want to take any investment risk, well, that means you're going to probably have to work longer, save up more, maybe spend less, find other ways to get income, right? There's a trade-off there. And so all of those variables, Josh Gregory, one of my co-hosts on our weekly talk show, he says, well, you've got a choice in each one of those. Well, it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but he's absolutely right. You choose how much you spend. You've chosen where you live and what the property taxes are. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you have that choice. You choose what your retirement income. Yeah, you don't get to, hand select, which Social Security do I want? But you get to choose, are you going to draw at 62? You're going to optimize and draw at 70? Do something in the middle, right? You have those choices. And so financial planning is all about trying to have as many choices as possible within each of those, and then making the choice, the wise choice that is best for you, and so that you can transition into retirement with confidence. When you're doing that planning, if you realize later, closer to that retirement age, you realize that you're not on track, that you don't have confidence. Maybe something changed, or maybe you just haven't been doing the planning all along, and you finally do that 5-factor analysis and you say, I don't have, it's not giving me a high confidence rate. It's not showing that I'm able to retire. Usually, you've got 3 different trade-offs, and your CFP, unemotionally, they want you to retire, okay? And sometimes we get comments on here because, sometimes people are mean and whatnot, and comments and say, well, of course they want you to, keep saving and keep working because they want to just manage the money. No, I want you to retire. I want you to retire. Your certified financial planner, I'm telling you, if you're working with the right ones, they want you to have all the financial success and do everything that you want to in life. They do. They do. They just also want you to do so sustainably, so that you're not, living high one day and the very next, or the next year, or 5 years later, destitute. And we don't know. Guys, quick tangent. There was an individual, and I remember this vividly because I cared for her, and it was it was challenging. she wanted to retire early, 62, and financially, it could work, but she needed to spend about 80 grand a year. This is plenty. She was divorced and plenty, but she was helping out with the kids and grandkids. So basically, it wasn't just her spending 80 grand, because she could absolutely do that. But it was her and then her family, her kids and their kids. She was supporting all of them as well. She was spending about 110,000. And so as we would meet, I would say, there's a high chance you're going to run out of money. That, the longer this lasts. And she had a little over $1 million. So early in her 60s, it was, you can do this now, but you're not going to be able to sustain it. So you need to be aware. Well, she died of cancer after 6 years. She retired for 6 years. All the planning work that was right was wrong, because her life expectancy out there in her late 80s or 90s didn't come to fruition. So she absolutely, so that's the thing. You just never know. But your CFP wants you to succeed. They want you to retire on time with a high degree of confidence. When they're doing that analysis with you objectively and they realize you're not on track, there's typically 3 trade-offs that they'll troubleshoot with you that you can make. You can work longer, you can spend less, or you can save more. Which ones make the biggest impact? Now, let's jump to the second 2, because they're related, and I love it, okay? If you can spend less in retirement, that has a compounding effect for the rest of your retirement. Saying, well, I'd like to spend 7 grand a month, but we adjusted the budget, and you know what? We'd be happy to be able to live a good life, comfortable life on 6 grand a month. That is effectively 12 grand of savings per year for the rest of your life. That's a big deal. So how much you spend, this is why I've often said, of those 5 factors, how much you spend is arguably the most important, okay? That makes a compounding very, very, very big impact. And if you spend less, if you say, in a couple years when we retire, we're going to tighten the belt and we're going to spend less, start that now. Because if you spend less right now while you're working, if you tighten that belt, now you've got more to save. And you can save up more and build up more towards that retirement. So it's sort of a double-edged sword, but in a good way. The opposite is the bad way. And this is, we spend too much and therefore we can't save as much. Well, if you spend a lot, you need to have more saved, but you just aren't able to do that. I call that the Bernard paradox, because no one else really articulates that conundrum, that paradox. And so you've got to work the positive side of that, where you still are happy and content and can live, modestly. And that means you've got more ability to save, even though you don't need to have more saved up. So certainly those 2 are very important variables, but they're not as important, I would argue, when you're right on the cusp of retirement. Deciding to spend less, absolutely that might be needed, but if you're wanting to retire next year or 2 years and you're behind, it's going to be hard to say, well, I'll save an extra 5 grand this year and next year, and will that make a big difference? It might not. It most likely won't. Therefore, spending less would be the bigger one. Oftentimes, though, we see people absolutely shocked at how much difference it makes by just working 1 extra year. And we're able to show them, this isn't just kind of chin music, we're able to show them in that 5-factor analysis, the Monte Carlo, the stress test of, if you choose to retire at 66, this is what it looks like. But if you work 1 more year and retire at 67, this is what it looks like. Or from 62 to 63, this is what it looks like. Or 62 to 64, this is what it looks like. And that can have an enormous impact. Take, for example, if you're planning on spending or withdrawing 5 grand a month out of your retirement account. If you're planning on doing that to supplement your Social Security, delaying 1 more year saves you 60 grand instantly, because it was 1 year where you didn't have to withdraw 5 grand a month. Additionally, though, there's more. That's a year, another year that you've delayed your Social Security. And that's not able, not just have you delayed it, but it's been able to grow by 8%. That's fantastic. By working 1 more year, you're actually able to save more into your 401k, into your retirement savings, adding more to that 60 grand worth of savings or whatever it would be for you. Get you a year closer to Medicare, right? And having that health insurance solution in place. So guys, the power of working 1 extra year or 2 extra years, if you find yourself behind on your retirement goal late in your working career, it can make an enormous difference. The big idea: work with your certified financial planner. They are objective. They want you to achieve your goals. And they're going to look at all of those 5 factors and all of those trade-offs and more, stress testing to see what's the optimal time and way you could retire so that you have the right level of confidence. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.